Name's Thomas. Matthew Thomas. A key factor in play throughout Pulp Fiction is intertextuality. The film makes references to multiple genres throughout, such as gangster, boxing, war, musical, romance, art house, and blaxploitation, a 1970s genre of film specifically targeted at black people of black ethnicity. A factor highly criticised by some but responded to by Tarantino's quote at Sight and Sound 98, "If you're writing a black dialect, there are certain words you need to make it musical, and is one of them." Samuel Jackson uses all the time in his speech. That's just who he is and where he comes from. Also, I'm a white guy who's not afraid of that word. I just don't feel the whole white guilt and pussyfooting around race issue. I'm completely above that. A key scene in the film is that in the trendy diner Jack's Rabbit Slims, and is full of references to 1950s movies and stars. Pulp Fiction tends to use fairly traditional forms of editing for continuity and cinematography by conventional editing and lighting. However, there are several disruptions to the Hollywood style, for example shots of the back of Jules and Vincent's head.
Company, that's all. It's not a date. It's definitely not a date.
Unusually long takes.
We should have shotguns with this kind of deal.
How many up there?
3 or 4.
That's counting our guy?
Not sure.
So that means it could be up to 5 guys up there?
It's possible.
We should have fucking shotguns.
And the most notable of all, the scene in which Mia mimes drawing a square in mid-air which miraculously appears on screen.
Don't be a...
Another element of postmodernism in the film is the lack of any specific setting in location or time in history. However, the present or early 1990s seems to be referenced in the McDonald's chat scene, Jules' cellular phone, and the talk of body piercing.
Vincent! I'm in big fucking trouble, man. I'm coming to your house.
However, there are a lot of retro culture references such as music from the 60s and 70s, Vincent's 1974 Chevy car, and the start of some dialogue create an ambiguous area of no time.
You see.
That's it for Ricky Nelson. Fantastic job, Rick. Thank you very much.
The tone in the way the film deals with feelings and emotions about killings is disorientating. Vince is killed absurdly on the toilet reading a piece of Pulp Fiction, just as Butch's toaster alarm goes off and his pop-tops pop up. Other scenes feature offhand shootings in which the killer will not even be looking at the victim in a shocking juxtaposition.
Pulp Fiction is showing generic situations with the moments of every day pervading the narrative fabric. In fact, in postmodern terms, what the text is offering is the 4th stage of Baudrillard's 4 stages of real, the hyper-real. As Baudrillard himself states in Simulacra and Simulations, in the 1st and 3rd stage are variations upon an appearance, whilst in the 4th stage it is no longer in the order of appearance at all, but of simulation. Stage 1, concept of the real, is based on an appearance, hence appearing like a generic tale, whereas the 4th stage is hyperreal presents the removing of this appearance, this generic content, and showing moments of trueness, or as Baudrillard refers to them as simulacra. Pulp Fiction is split into 3 small stories: Vincent Vega and Marcellus Wallace's wife, the gold watch, and the bonding situation, encapsulated by what is perhaps best described as a preface and prologue at the very beginning and very end of the film. These are the meta-narratives that Lyotard speaks of when he speaks of postmodernism, incredulity towards meta-narratives, and the narratives that Barry refers to when he speaks of the shift away from the grand narratives of the human perfectibility towards meta-narratives, which are provisional, contingent, and temporary.
In terms of both the crime and pulp genres, these mini-narratives are, as Tarantino states himself, the oldest chestnuts in the book. For example, the small-time gangster having to take the boss's wife out to dinner hoping nothing will go wrong, the boxer who is supposed to throw his big fight but decides instead to try and make off with the money, and the cliché of the hitmen who with professional accuracy make their kill and depart. except that, as most noticeable in this final case, Pulp Fiction moves outside the generic stories, since instead of ending each of these narratives in a conventional place, the narrative continues in an attempt to show what occurs outside the traditional stock elements. For instance, Vincent and Jules go to Brett's apartment to recover the briefcase of Marcellus and with the utmost professionalism execute Brett and his friends before making off with the briefcase and their man Marvin. This is the stock tale that a generic text would utilise, and at this point is such a tale the narrative would stop. In Pulp Fiction, however, after Vincent and Jules have miraculously avoided being hit by any of the fourth man's bullets, they do indeed, as Jules says, continue the discussion in the car, and hence we see Vincent and Jules continuing their animated discussion regarding miracles whilst driving in the LA morning sunshine. Tarantino declares that these are stories that we have seen before but never played out in such a way. Indeed, they are genre situations unrivaled in real ways.
Pulp Fiction is not postmodern.
Bazinga!